I'm David Daslich. I'm the Vice President of Government Affairs for the Colorado Springs Chamber and EDC.
Perfect. And then today we're talking about Proposition 123. So kind of just tell us a little bit about what it was or is. I know it was voted on in 2022 and is being implemented this year.
Absolutely. So in November of 2022, Proposition 123 was on the general election ballot. It passed by a fairly wide margin. And the most simple explanation is the state would be allowed to retain a portion of the income tax refunds that were projected and allowed to distribute that in partnership with local governments in order to spur affordable housing growth. Affordable housing growth, of course, is one piece of rising housing prices, not only in Colorado, but across the country. And here in the Pikes Peak region, we're especially keen to see growth of housing options along all income levels, but certainly affordable housing, especially.
Yeah. And how does someone know if this is for them, essentially, I guess?
So affordable housing is essentially pegged to area income within a certain percentage range. And the cities and county governments across the state of Colorado will all have an opportunity to apply for certain amounts of the Proposition 123 funds. The legislature in the 2023 session did pass a couple of bills that very specifically allocated those dollars, something that we were watching very closely, wanting to make sure that those dollars would be accessible to our local governments here in the Pikes Peak region. At the city level, Steve Posey, who's recently been promoted to chief housing officer, was doing work back in early 2022 when I first came on with the chamber to ensure that Colorado Springs would be meeting the growth goals required under Proposition 123 to be in line for some of that funding. As we've seen, Colorado Springs has a couple of applications in. One of them has just been approved. So some of those dollars will be coming back into our community to help make these affordable housing projects happen. Um, with affordable housing specifically, because it is usually pegged to income, and in a lot of cases, it is for lower income individuals. Rents are restricted. There are limitations on exactly what can be charged over what period of time. So, in order to develop that affordable housing and bring those units online, there's a pretty complex stack of tax credits and government incentives and uh, waivers and deferrals used to get to a number that can make that happen, as opposed to a market rate housing development where the costs are just borne out in the rent. So the ability to bring these dollars online is definitely going to help some of the affordable housing developers and nonprofits here in the Pikes Peak region make some of those projects pencil out.
Yeah. And this is essentially being rolled out this year or like later this year, 2023, right?
That's correct. Yeah, the Department of Local Affairs is going to be awarding some of those grants throughout 2023. And
Perfect.
Colorado Springs is in a great position to bring home some of those dollars and help spur some of those projects that are on the books and maybe need that last little bit of cash infusion to get across the finish line.
And do you have anything else that you want to add about anything?
I'll just broadly say that from the chamber's position, we've seen a lot of engagement locally. The Community Housing Affordability Task Force, that's CHAT, is made up of a group of affordable housing and low income housing advocates, together with folks like the home builders, the realtors, the apartment association, the city and the county, all working together to try and find obstacles that we can move out of the way to expand the housing stock here in the region. Um, really want to address the misconception that it's only an affordable housing difficulty that we're facing. We need more housing stock across every level of income. And this has been a mission of that Community Housing Affordability Task Force to ensure that we are pushing more housing stock to market. When we saw Proposition 123 pass in November, we knew one of our key legislative priorities in 2023 was going to be make sure those dollars stay accessible to local governments, especially to the Pikes Peak region. Whenever you start playing legislature and there's a large pot of money, in this case, $300 million, there's always the temptation on the part of some legislators to try and raid that for other portions of the budget. I think this time around, Speaker McCluskey and all of the Pikes Peak area legislative delegation did a really good job ensuring that those dollars are all going to be going exactly where they're supposed to.
Awesome. Well, that's all I had. So thank you so much.
Thank you.